Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
Troop Zero is a strategy being laid out by Elliott, Alabama law enforcement agency, and they are working on cracking down on reckless driving in major corridors where they seem to have some problems. Recently, over a 12-day Troop Zero crackdown in North Alabama, targeting speeding, improper lane changes, following too closely, seatbelt violations, and DUIs, they made 2,469 traffic stops that were conducted to deter hazardous behavior and reduce crashes. So they've been focusing a lot locally here in North Alabama at getting this done. They also put out 419 warnings as well. So they have been very, very, very busy working on that, and I like it. Surge those traffic cops in. Let's get these roads looking better.
Number 6.
State Senator Chris Elliott, a Republican of Josephine, predicted that Democrats in the Alabama State Senate would continue acting as obstructionists, and if they did that, we might be talking about ending the filibuster in a different Senate than the United States Senate. They've had a lot of forcing of cloture votes and things like that. It could lead to Senate rule changes as the minority party's obstruction tactics slow progress, with only 2 weeks left in the session, potentially limiting bills' passages. Now, if that were to happen, I would love to see them get through the closed primary bill. I don't think that's going to happen, but if they make them cloture them over and over again, why not ram this other thing right down their throat as well?
Number 5.
State Senator Arthur Orr is touting the massive number of applicants that have applied for school choice vouchers via the CHOOSE Act, and said that there have been a lot of people who are out there trying to do all they can to give their kids opportunities. $187 million has been used up in the first year. They're going to expand that to $250 million, and 187 million have applied. Excuse me, let me get this straight. 187 million in applications for the next school year, where they're going to raise it to 250 million. So, if you have not applied for the CHOOSE Act, I strongly suggest you get out there and do so, because those opportunities exist, and you should take advantage of it. I think that's great. You need to get out there, give your kids those opportunities. If that's something you want to do, get it.
Number 4.
All right, more Muslim bashing for absolutely no reason, just completely unneeded, unnecessary, and how do you say this? Unnecessary. Did I say that already? Anyway, same thing. Alabama Attorney General candidate Jay Mitchell put out a new ad, and that new ad references how if you are, of the radical Islam variety, you can Allahu Akbar your butt all the way back to the Middle East, which I don't think anyone disagrees with, really, but it's just a little odd to be throwing these things in here. But the anti-Islam narrative continues in Alabama politics. Not making this any better? A reporter from Birmingham, ABC's 3340, for some reason, closing their newscast by quoting the Muslim Brotherhood. What the hell is that about?
Number 3.
The pay is starting to come in for employees of the TSA as the partial government shutdown continues, affecting the Department of Homeland Security. This has now become the longest in U.S. history in over 6 weeks. House and the Senate negotiations continue ongoing, even though some of them have went home, and they are deadlocked over whether they're going to get this done. Donald Trump starting to pay these people their back pay via executive order has been called illegal by some Democrats, and I guess he's just daring them to sue him. But it also is relieving a lot of the pressure, so they're not gonna be in any hurry to get these things done. Other people are still going without pay, so we'll shift over to like the Coast Guard and people like that. That's what we'll be doing next.
Number 2.
No Kings protest drew hundreds to thousands, and you might as well say millions, across Alabama, Huntsville, Athens, Florence, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, and everywhere in between. Over 3,000 different protests across the country. And listen, they said there were now 10 million. And in order for that to be true, you would have had to have like 4,000 people at every single protest. And I don't think anyone believes that actually happened. But, again, let's just say 450 million people protested in Alabama. Congratulations. They were chanting against Trump policies. They were wearing silly outfits. They were screaming about ICE agents. And they were kind of embarrassing themselves. And they were also harassing reporters. So that happened here, where they're going to harass reporters too. So good for them.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Pakistan is hosting talks with diplomats from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey to broker a ceasefire in the Iran war, while Israel and the United States have intensified their strikes, hitting Iranian military and manufacturing facilities. Trump has extended his deadline for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz, threatening energy sites if not complied with. There is a troop buildup going on as well, and speculations about ground operations about you being used to reopen the strait or extract uranium. So it's interesting to see how far we're going to go here on this. A lot of talk about ground operations taking place. I don't believe we're going to see a ground. The only ground operation that I can foresee, and they should be preparing for this, by the way. I'm not suggesting they shouldn't be preparing for this. They should be preparing for ground operations, but the only ground operations that I think we are going to see is the ones that say we're going to go in and take this uranium as part of a deal. That's probably the only way this is going to go, where we put American soldiers on the ground. I don't think the American people are going to tolerate much more than that. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. If they get into a hot conflict there on the ground, people are not going to like that. They are not going to be okay with that. We might tolerate a Nicolas Maduro abduction, arrest, whatever you want to call it, type situation, and even that comes with massive risks. Remember the pilot there with the Medal of Honor because of all the injuries he sustained. But we might tolerate that. Other than that, I really do not see any of this going much further than airstrikes. But keep in mind, in order to get peace, you have to project strength, and I think that's more what this is about than anything else. But now the speculation just runs wild, and now we're going to have a draft now next, which we should have. I'll tell you why we should have a draft when we come back. Stay tuned.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.